You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Now on the Mo Kelly Show, it's Tiffany Hobbs, the viral load.
She'll speak of all the viral things social media can bring. Facebook, Insta, X, TikTok, the viral load with Tiffany Hobbs. Viral load, viral load, the viral load. Yeah. Viral load with Tiffany Hobbs.
KFI Mo Kelly live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Tiffany Hobbs, please take it away.
All righty. So this first story comes to us from TikTok. There's a woman. Her name is Christian Meyer, and she recently came across a video that was circulating on social media, and it gave her an idea. Christian is a granddaughter, and her grandmother is 86 years old. In decent health, pretty spry. Nothing seems to be wrong. But Christian also understands what age is and what aging can do. And so the idea that was given to her was to create a memento. And here's how they did it. Christian called her cousins and siblings and said, hey, we're going to go surprise grandma at her house. Let's all meet over there on this specific date. And they did. They wore plain T-shirts, plain sweatshirts, white in color, because the objective was to get their grandmother covered in paint, just her arms, so that grandma could hug each and every one of them, leaving her painted arms on their T-shirts and sweatshirts. And that's what they did. One by one, grandma hugged each grandchild, hugged each child, and each one of them was able to walk away with this beautiful memory, this wonderful memento. They posted it on TikTok, and as of today, it has over 66 million views.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
But I love the sentiment.
The sentiment is beautiful. The definition of viral is there. 66 million is no small feat by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
And because of that, others have gotten similar ideas. So it's one of these now, it's become a trend. So if you have someone, Mo, who says, hey, make sure you come over, paint your arms, hug everyone, they're basically saying that you're old and that you have 1 foot maybe in the grave, Mo, and they want you to leave your lasting impression with them.
Why do people keep reminding me about my age? I don't get it.
You know, you're not
all night long.
You're not a
From
day.
Mark to Claudine.
You're not a day over
to
like
Steph.
55.
I'm not 55 yet, okay? Don't rush to double nickels on me.
Wait till we get to this story in a few. Not yet.
Okay.
The next story has to do with an age-old meal. It's the meal itself is not the issue, but why this meal has gone viral is. So there's a mom. Her name is Maja Barnes. She posts on TikTok. She has a page called The Polish Mom, where she offers up her recipes for no frills cooking for children, nothing too fancy. She talks about the struggles of being a working mom. Well, Maja posted a video about a meal that she created using her crock pot with sausage and chicken, pasta, and that meal itself got over 17 million views. Basically, Maja threw everything into a pot. She called it Mom Slop. Again, not avant-garde by any stretch, but Maja, received a lot of pushback by users and commenters who basically coined her strategy of putting everything into a pot and serving it to her children as being lazy, effortless.
Okay, what do people think stew is?
Exactly. But because they seem to not remember how stew and other sorts of one-pot meals are made and why they're so delicious, they've deemed her, these users, as being a representation of a generation of moms that is doomed, quote unquote.
Have these kids never had gumbo before?
I don't think so, and that's really sad for them.
Do you know Tuala can make some mean gumbo?
I'm waiting for it. I've been waiting all year.
Wait a minute, you haven't had any of Tuala's gumbo?
I've had it once, and that was last holiday season, which means it's time.
Well,
it's been a year.
Well, this is where I just realized that people just want to be upset and want to insult people on social media, because there is absolutely nothing wrong with stew or gumbo. Call it whatever name, or casserole, whatever name you want to affix to it.
There's nothing wrong with it. And in fact, there are users who jumped to her defense, to Maja's defense, saying that, quote, mom slop, which is a little annoying in itself. Why rename it? It is what it is, but whatever. It has to be a trend. It has to be a tag. Mom slop is the, quote, backbone of every civilization's greatest culinary achievements, right? These instant pot meals. But again, the backlash that Maja is receiving is directly connected to this other social media trend, which we spoke about a couple of months ago, the trad wife trend, which is traditional wife, which aims to show these wives within the trad wife trend as being perfectionists. Their houses are spotless. Their meals are culinary perfection. They are calm, collected, poised. They're unfrazzled. They are the direct antithesis to what Maja's page, her objective is, which is to show, in her opinion, a real world example of what a working mom is and does.
Okay, so a trad wife has nothing but plated meals. Plated
meals. Everything again is perfectly what is it called when you're curated. Perfectly curated, perfectly presented for the audience. So it looks right. We don't know how it tastes, but the presentation shows perfection.
Oh, Instagram worthy,
social media perfect. Maja's page, on the other hand, again, is the antithesis to that. She's like, no, I'm throwing everything into a pot. I don't care if things are falling off of the plate. But because of that, she's getting the backlash.
These kids, young people, they're lying, because I'm quite sure there was some mom slop in their life somewhere along the way.
Absolutely.
Because it's unavoidable.
And the thing, too, about this particular story, Mo, is that Maja said because of what she posted, because of the backlash, people are, of course, jumping to her defense and saying that they are motivated to call their own moms to thank them for the mom slop that they were raised with, and that it actually is kind of ushering in this new resurgence of one pot meals.
You're getting me hungry here.
I know.
We need to call Tuala and find out when we're going to get some of his patented gumbo, and it really is good,
delicious.
Yeah, he knows how to burn.
And I don't understand why we have to wait all year.
I'll tell you why.
Time.
I'll tell you why. Because he's mad each and every year that he doesn't win the dessert competition at my house. He lords the gumbo over us.
So we're being punished.
Yes, it's like it's being held hostage. You can't have the gumbo until he wins the dessert competition.
But I mean, if that's the case, Mo, then we should be blaming you, because you are the one organizing the voters, and you could totally rig this so we could get more gumbo. It's your fault.
No, it's actually Mark's fault.
Everything's Mark's fault.
If you're looking for a scapegoat, why not?
KFI AM 640. We'll have the second half of the viral load in just a moment. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Now it's time for the viral load with Tiffany. Live on KFI's Later with Mo Kelly. She'll talk about the toughest on social media. The viral load with Tiffany Hobbs.
KFI Later with Mo Kelly. It's time for part 2 of the viral load with Tiffany Hobbs.
Okay, this next story is a little macabre. It might even be a little sad. But the reason it's included is because it's viral. This is the viral load, and there's a unique element to the story. Well, there's a funeral director site called robertsonfuneral.com. They're based in Texas, and they have become famous, if not infamous, for a recent obituary that they allowed to be posted to their site. I say allowed because it is very unconventional in comparison to most obituaries you might read, which just outline a person's life, their accomplishments, and those they leave behind. Well, this one does that and then some, and I'm going to read you a little bit of it. Robert Adolph Bohm is the subject at hand, and here we go. In accordance with his lifelong dedication to his own personal brand of decorum, Robert Adolph Boehm muttered his last unintelligible and likely unnecessary curse on October 6, 2024, shortly before tripping backward over, quote, some stupid mother-father thing and hitting his head on the floor. The obituary goes on. Robert was born in Winters, Texas, to the late Walter Boehm and Betty Smith on May 6, 1950, after which God immediately and thankfully broke the mold and attempted to cover up the evidence. Raised Catholic, Robert managed to get his wife Diane pregnant 3 times, fast enough to just barely miss getting drafted into the Vietnam War by fathering Michelle, John, and Charlotte between 1967 and 1972. Much later, with Robert possibly concerned about the brewing conflict in Grenada, Charles was born in 1983. So I'm not going to read the entire obituary, but here are some really funny and interesting parts. It says, this lack of military service was probably for the best, as when taking up shooting as a hobby in his later years, he managed to blow not 1, but 2 holes in the dash of his own car on 2 separate occasions, which unfortunately did not even startle, let alone surprise, his dear wife Diane, who was much accustomed to such happenings in his presence and may have actually been safer in the jungles of Vietnam the entire time. The obituary goes on to describe Robert as being a semi-professional truck driver, which is not to be confused with a professional semi-truck driver. It even goes on to say that if you were in that town, you might have seen Robert wearing the latest trend in homemade leather moccasins, a wide collection of unconventional hats, and boldly mismatched shirts and pants. It also says that Robert kept a large selection of harmonicas on hand, by which he gave to his many grandchildren and great-grandchildren to play loudly during road trips with their parents, and that he prompted his beloved dogs to howl continuously at odd hours of the night to entertain his neighbors. This obituary is golden.
Hilarious.
Hilarious. I do want to note that it does include that Robert's wife did pass away. And this is what they say about this. Earlier this year in February, God finally showed mercy upon Diane, getting her the hell out of there for some well-earned peace and quiet. Without Diane to gleefully entertain, Robert shifted his creative focus to the entertainment of you, the fine townspeople of Clarendon, Texas.
Who wrote this?
This was authored by someone in his family who is a writer and needs to publish more. I want them to write my obituary, every obituary. This is amazing.
Anytime you can bring a smile to the passing of a loved one,
yes,
that's okay with me.
It is. It definitely lightens the mood. The next story also brought a smile to my face, and I hope it does the same thing for you. The pyramids in Egypt are often thought to be a no-climb zone.
Yeah.
That goes without saying. If you do try to climb the pyramids, you can be arrested and banned from the country, as some people have found out when they illegally sought after climbing these pyramids. Well, apparently the same laws do not apply to dogs. And just last week, a dog was spotted on top of the Great Pyramid of Giza. It's unclear how the animal got there, but footage was taken and uploaded to social media by a person named Alex Lang, who was basically flying a drone over the top and caught this dog on top of the Pyramid of Giza. It was barking at birds, according to Alex Lang.
Well, dogs do that.
Dogs do that, whether on the ground or apparently on top of a Great Pyramid, and seem to be at ease. No issues. Don't know if the dog got down. And to this day, don't know if the dog has been charged with trespassing. I'm waiting for you to laugh.
I
Or
think it's a
Rimshot,
good
one of the
story.
two.
No. It wasn't funny. It's just a feel
funny.
good. It's a feel good story.
A dog, you can't charge a dog with a crime, Mo.
Yes, you
Come
can.
on. That's
Yes, you can.
Crime comedy right there.
No. People have done worse to dogs.
What? Well, let's not get into that.
Okay, so you don't tell me what they can't do.
Let's go into the next story. And this one actually is going to be a question that I'd like to ask of you guys in the room here.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
A simple question has gone viral on X/Twitter, and this question has provoked a lot of soul searching. The question was, what's your biggest ick about yourself? And an ick would be something undesirable about you. What's yours?
Not behavior or something, a physical
It
characteristic.
can be whatever you want it to be, as long as it is something undesirable about you that you feel is the biggest, most prominent ick.
I'm not telling you my most prominent ick.
Tell us your second.
No.
Maybe your third.
Hells no.
What's your fifth?
Mark, would you do this?
I was looking at something else. Sorry. Ick something?
No, in other words, would you tell basically what you think is the worst part of yourself?
Yeah.
Either behavior or feature.
I don't know. I think I'm kind of an open book. It'd be redundant.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean,
Pick one, Mo. What's something you think you could possibly do better? Or something if it were with someone else, you might be annoyed by it?
I would. Can I pass?
No, you can't pass. The host can't pass.
What would my wife say, maybe?
Sure.
Snoring.
All right. That's fair.
And I try to sleep on my stomach because, otherwise sleep apnea. And I'm not wearing that damn mask.
No,
so.
please. That's frightening as is.
Yeah.
Steph, biggest ick that you can think of off the top of your head. Don't make it too deep.
Okay. I think it would be for me, my nose.
Oh, you have a great nose.
Thank you.
But that's your own ick. So that's what you're owning. In this case, the answer to the question is what went viral. The question itself was viral. Thousands of people engaged with it. But what was found is that the most common answer is that people consider their biggest ick to be that they act meanly toward the people they love. And then
You're lying.
Oh
no, that's triggering.
That's triggering. And then when it was delved into further, Mo and Mark and Steph and everyone listening, what was said is that mean behavior towards people we love is often due to being overstimulated. There's a lot going on in your world. You're frustrated and you are projecting all of that angst and all of that anxiety and frustration onto the people closest to you.
Okay, I guess my concept of an ick is different than the way it was described to me. That just seems like personality flaw.
Yeah,
that's not an ick.
It's whatever you consider an ick to be for you. For some, it's a personality flaw. For some, it might be like Steph, a feature, which I don't agree with, Steph. I think you have a great nose.
Yeah, what's wrong with your nose? And does it come with the glasses?
See, that's why I don't share my icks around people like Mark Ronner. I'm not going to serve up a fastball right down the center of the plate. By the way, the Dodgers won 8-0. Go Dodgers.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't bring that up. I learned it on the news.
Well, look, I'm doing a show here. Okay, I'm kind of busy.
Shutout.
Kind of busy. Yeah, that's third shutout in like 4 games.
That's wonderful.
5 games.
And that, speaking of 5, that's our 5th story and the end of this week's Harvest Moon edition of the Viral Load.
Have you seen the Harvest Moon yet?
I will see it as soon as I leave. I plan to look at it and see what I can harvest.
Yeah, I got here when it was light out, leaving when it's dark out, and it's getting dark earlier and earlier. I was talking to Oscar, the assistant program director, Oscar Ramirez, about how we both dread the coming of the end of daylight saving time.
2 weeks. 2 weeks, baby. 2, can't wait for it.
What movie is that from? 2 weeks.
Oh, God, how many movies?
2 weeks.
Mark.
2 weeks.
Help.
2 weeks.
Mark.
Nobody knows?
He's posing right now.
Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry, I was
What
busy
movie is this from? 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Tuala's here. Someone
I
help.
give up.
I know Tuala knows.
Of course I know. I'm shocked that Mark doesn't know.
2 weeks.
What is it?
Total Recall.
When he's going through security,
Customs, yeah.
customs, and he has the mask on that malfunctions.
Okay, all right.
I am really disappointed in you, Mark. I thought of all people you would get that.
It's not one of my favorite movies.
I don't care.
Well, I don't
You
care
should
that
still
you
know.
don't care.
You're supposed to know, though. We'll talk Disneyland when we come back. We have another Disney story. For all you line skippers out there, we got good news for you. Well, kind of good news. It's going to be expensive.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And Disneyland is back in the news. Last night we talked about the whole Deadpool and Wolverine story time fiasco. Well, they have new news, as in Disneyland has new news to share. They're rolling out exclusive line skipping passes. It just sounds wrong. Line skipping. I know it costs a lot of money just to get in Disneyland. A lot of money. And then you're going to find someone who's going to walk right past you, everybody in the line, and get straight on the ride. It's going to cost you, though, $400 per person.
Oh, word?
$400 to skip the lines at Disneyland. I don't think anyone can love Disneyland that much. It is beyond me how someone like Amy King or Nick Poliokini can get a season pass. I think Twala had a season pass for a while. I can get my fill of Disneyland, let's say in 2 days. 2 days. And I'll be good for at least a calendar year. At least a calendar year. But if you're going to pay for a season pass, you're going to pay on top of that $400 to skip the line, that's a whole ass vacation for 1 day at Disneyland. A whole vacation. You're talking about at least $100 a head, at least $100 per person to get in the park. You haven't eaten anything. You haven't purchased anything, including parking, whatever. And then if you're going to skip the lines, and there is something attractive about skipping the line. Don't get me wrong. You get to more of the attractions in a given day. But $400 per person? In other words, the family of four. You're going to stay at the Disneyland Resort Hotel, any one of them. They're about $1,000 a night. I know this firsthand because I've done it. You're going to pay at least $100 per person, at least. I'm low estimate, to get in the park. So you're going to, let's say you have 2 rooms at the Disneyland Hotel. That's $2,000. You're going to pay at least $400 to get 4 people in the park. And those same 4 people, if you want to skip the lines, are going to have to pay $400 per piece. So that's another $1,600. You're going to pay at least $4,000 for 1 night and 1 day at 1 park, skipping the lines, and you haven't eaten hamburger the first. You haven't parked your car. You haven't had anything to drink. Because I would have a drink at that point.
That sounds like a down payment on a car.
No, it's more than a down payment on a car.
What kind of cars are you getting?
Yeah, I mean, that's about right. 2,000, yeah.
Well,
maybe,
yeah. But yeah, that makes a cruise sound much more inviting.
Yeah,
I'm saying, and I love me some Disneyland. I'm just saying, woo. The prices for Lightning Lane Premier Pass will increase next year.
Already.
The pass will also be available at Walt Disney World in Florida starting at the end of the month, though its pricing and eligibility is different from Disneyland Resort. The theme parks will still offer their current Lightning Lane Multi-Pass add-on, which starts at $32, and it's different because it allows guests to book specific times to ride more popular attractions. But if you've ever used it, you can't book multiple attractions. You have to go from attraction, get on that, and then wait. Then you can book your next one. Go ahead, Tiffany.
I just have a question, because everywhere I look and everything I hear seems to be geared towards people not having money right now. It being a recession, groceries are too high, gas is too high. Where are people getting all of this money?
Well, the thinking is that Disneyland is doing this to thin out the park, or at least finding where that ceiling is before people will not buy into everything, which is Disneyland. They're supposed to be focusing more on the theme parks than the movies and other things. They're also branching out in the real estate. It's less about the entertainment properties. pretty much out of TV, linear TV as we know it. They're not doing much with ABC or ESPN. It's about the theme parks. And they're now making it a much more exclusive type of
elitist
experience. That's the only way I can describe it. Because if you're trying to enjoy the fullness of Disneyland, and I learned this last year when I went, you can't enjoy Disneyland in one day. You honestly can't. Not if you're trying to do everything, especially if you're going to do it as part of your vacation. Now, how a family of 4 comes out and spends, let's say, 4 days in LA, and one of those days is at Disneyland, and you're going to stay at one of the hotels on the Disneyland resort. Whew.
So you know how you like to talk about you told everyone about Combs and all the accusations, you were ahead of that. This goes to what you said about, I think it was,
wait, but you getting ready to tell me I was right again?
Yeah. It was a couple of days ago when you pointed out that that's not inflation, that's a corporate decision. They're trying to figure out how much they're trying to get you to spend.
Yeah. I did say that.
It's actually a promo. You're welcome.
Yes. Well, thank you. Yeah, these are decisions which are being made by businesses. You can't say that Disneyland, for example, is more expensive because inflation. You can't. This is not inflation. This is a business decision, and they've already run the numbers, and they said that people are willing to pay this. Maybe not everybody, but enough people will pay for it, and for them, it's free money. They're already paying the price to get in the park. This is on top of that. So anyone who pays for it, they're not having to spend any money to make this pass available. In fact, I'm giving them free promotion by just talking about it. People are going to pay for it, and everyone who pays for it, that's free money for them because they don't have to sacrifice anything for it. Koala might even pay for it one day.
There is a trade-off. There are individuals who, like, say if Mark had a family of 4, he's not getting on a cruise, but he may say, let's go to Disneyland.
First, I want a DNA test.
Okay. Well, you might get it, sir. All I'm saying is, there are people who will pay for it, who will pay for this experience, if only because I have seen people pay already the high prices for those single day line hopper passes. And those are almost like $200. When you get there, it's like, ooh, $200 per person for us to get to the front of a line. Nah. And then we would go and you make a decision. I want to get on Rise of the Resistance. I want to get on this ride, that ride. You go and pay a little bit of extra money for those rides and then wait in line for the other rides. But this is a decision for individuals who are the Disney diehards, Nick Paleocchini, Amy Kings of the world, who are like, you know what? We're going to go. We're going to have a ball. We're going to pay this extra money and we're going to live it up.
Look, I know what value is attached to it because I had the opportunity to use these passes when I got a media pass to see Disneyland. There are a lot of people who will pay for this. I don't know who they are. Like, I can't identify a specific group of people, but there are people who will pay for it, and they will continue. Disneyland will continue to offer these opportunities and the exclusive passes until people demonstrate that there's no market for them, which is not going to be anytime soon.
I'd get it. I don't like lines. I'd get it.
Okay,
I don't like
then you can pay for me too.
No. I'm not saying. I'm saying theoretically.
Oh, okay.
If I had that level of money to burn, but I'm already saving up for the next cruise. I need to get on a 7-day trip.
Hey,
so that's what I'm waiting for.
Stephen, we got to get you on a cruise too. I've given up on Mark.
I'm down.
Get you out there and tan you up.
Get you another woman or two.
Baller
stuff be happening on the ships.
Let me tell you.
Oh, you unfortunately, yes. That's why they have to clean it every single day.
Look at the time.
KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere. The iHeartRadio app. Tiffany, you have been here way too long.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI, Mo Kelly, live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app, Coast to Coast AM, with George Norrie, who joins me right now. What's going on, my friend?
Well, my friend, legendary ufologist Whitley Strieber joins us to talk about close encounters later on. We're going to Mount Shasta up there in California to talk about weird mysteries on Coast to Coast.
Hey, very quickly, when are you coming back to California again? Because we're supposed to go to lunch.
Sometime in January,
Okay.
right after Christmas.
All right, then. We'll lock it in for January, and I'll bring along Mark Ronner so he can, ask you all the questions that he's been waiting to ask you for the past 25 years.
I'll buy.
I'm in.
We got it on tape.
I got it.
Have a great show, my friend.
Thanks. See you soon.
Tiffany Hobbs, I can see you over there screaming in the corner. I couldn't hear you. What were you trying to say?
I'm a huge George Norrie fan. I want to go to lunch.
Well, you have to be jumped in.
Oh, come on.
Okay, it's a very exclusive club. It's more exclusive than a Diddy white party.
Well, I don't want to go to a Diddy white party. I hope that's not what you guys are doing.
Oh no, it's just dinner. It's just food.
You know, when I filled
Just
in
dinner
for
and
you,
work.
Mo, when I filled in for you and I did cross with Norrie, he actually called me Tiff.
Oh, you feel like
my
y'all have
God.
a rapport now.
Oh, I do. He's Uncle George.
Uncle George.
Uncle George.
If you could have seen her face,
Yeah.
if she looked like a kid on Christmas morning, or they got the exact gift they wanted.
Yes.
She was beyond. She was on cloud nine.
Well,
I
Mark is
was.
no different. We got the
No.
whole George Norrie fan club here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And
So it's going to be a big lunch.
I had questions ready for him and everything about the previous show because I'm a listener. So I was ready. I want to go to lunch.
All right, so January, we're going to hold George to it. So when he comes out to California again, we'll have Robin set it up. Because that's how I went out to lunch with him right before we started later with Mo Kelly. Robin took George and I out to lunch. Got a picture of it somewhere on my Instagram. And it was weird in the sense of the guy you listen to all the time. Of course, I knew what he looked like, but when you're in someone's presence to get a feeling for who they are as a person, cool as a fan. Cool as a fan. It's funny as all get out. And funny in a way that he can't be on the radio.
So dirty.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say dirty, but he had much more room to talk about anything and everything.
How many martinis at this lunch?
None.
Really?
None. It was just a lunch. Didn't have any alcohol.
Boy, it's been a while since the old Mad Men days, huh?
But we'll try to do this again in January. So that's one of the things which are I enjoy the most about my business, to have little stories and moments with people that I wouldn't normally have the opportunity to have moments with. That's why I like working in entertainment. And I keep telling people as we get older, it's not about the money you make or the cars you drive or the houses you live in. It's about the moments and the stories that you get to take with you, which are priceless. And I was telling you about my friend Marcel Washington. I'll use his whole government name. He's in the studio tonight. We work together put on the headphones real quick, Marcel.
Put down the camera.
Yeah.
The headphones.
All right, hit that button right there. You used to work in radio.
That button?
Yes, with this deep voice. I don't like people coming in and showing me up. But Marcel and I worked together at Interscope Records. When I tell you we used to run into Suge Knight every single day, I know I have my stories, but tell one Suge Knight story that you're allowed to tell. Because there's still stories we can't tell.
Can I tell the one about Garrett?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Suge's assistant was in the building. He left a CD for a new artist they wanted to sign. His assistant called the office and asked us to messenger the CD back. And Garrett mistakenly didn't ask for that to be rushed.
He did not follow Suge's express instructions.
Suge gave no instructions, but he should have known.
It was understood. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was understood.
Yeah. So when Suge called the office to find out where the CD was and why it wasn't rushed to him, instead of answering the question, because I'm the one who picked up the phone, I just put him on hold and told Garrett to pick up line 2.
Because you were not going to take that metaphorical bullet for him.
No. And he hasn't forgiven me to this day. But Suge did threaten some things.
When people talk about Suge Knight as if he's a cartoonish, larger-than-life character, no, he was that dude. He was polite, but to a point. So long as he got what he wanted and what he needed in the time that he expected it. Be it music, be it a car, be it tickets to this, that, or the other, which I had to do on occasion. Whatever it was, you didn't want him. Well, he knew us, but you didn't want him to remember us.
No. And half of the intimidation stuff was strictly for that purpose. You didn't have to do anything wrong.
Right. But also, and you can attest to this, the stories about him were real without being specific.
All of them.
Every single one of them. So if you heard of Suge supposedly doing this to this person and it had to do with a window and dangling, that's a true story. If you heard that Suge might have done this to that person and it meant a radio programmer was beat up, that's a true story.
Or even when he was banned from the building, but would just he would have meetings in front of the building outside.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Tell as much as you can about that.
Well, no, you would just look out the window and you would see him there holding court and then looking up at all the executives' windows, letting them know that
he was not allowed in the building. And we were working on Colorado Avenue in Santa Monica at the time. And I don't know what precipitated it, but I knew that he was not allowed in the building. And he wanted to keep sticking it in the faces of the Universal Music Group executives that he wasn't going anywhere. And it was this soft intimidation of everybody. Like, you may see me at any time walking out of the building, going to your car.
Yep. Or the DMV.
And on that note, there's so many stories that we can't wait to tell. But Marcel, it's good seeing you. And thank you for doing all those pictures tonight. Hopefully we got some good ones.
We did. Thank you.
It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
Free-range, non-genetically modified, handcrafted, artisanal, gluten-free, stimulating talk. KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live every